I've come across another convenient map pointing out that we are just here. So I think we've been up to, oh, there's the Amber Museum, number 9. Beruta's Hill isn't marked for some inexplicable reason. Seems odd. Might as well just continue and show you what you would see if you came for a beach holiday here. This is a music club restaurant. And personally, I can't make head and tail of this menu. But maybe that's just me. Morku Piragas su mascarpones cremu. Actually, I think I can make head or tail of that. I think morku sounds as though it's carrots. Piragas are those like mini pasty shaped pastries. So it's a carrot pastry with mascarpone cream. €5.50. The prices, of course, you're right by the beach, it's summer, but you possibly pay more elsewhere? I really don't know. But where are we? Just to double check. Oh, that's right, we're in Palanga. And what holds true in Palanga is it's possibly the most expensive place in Lithuania, I would say, along with Nida during the jazz festivals. Palanga in July and August, not a destination for a cheap holiday, unless you're doing some cheap camping trip and you can find a cheap campground in the location nearby. And then if you're into the nature, if you're into the Samogitian stuff, if you're into the art of the sculpture, then yeah, you can have a cheap holiday. But if you're into the beachside restaurants and music bars, and you can't resist those ice creams which cost double the price of what they would cost in the Maximus supermarket, if you buy from the vendor by the beach, of course there's a markup, that's understandable. But when it all tots up, you can have a wild drunken party time here in Palanga, but it's going to cost you. Or you can have a slightly out of season, much more inexpensive break, either as a day trip, for example, from Klaipeda, where you're only paying hostel dorm bed prices or private room prices. Or you can come here and maybe find that because there's so much accommodation which will be full up in July and August, but they just haven't got much occupancy, there could be a deal out there. Take a look on booking.com. Maybe booking last minute accommodation in Palanga in May and June does bring those bargains. It worked for me in May 5 years ago. Would it work for you in 2023, 2024, 2025, in May, June, or maybe September? You could still have some very nice weather here. Tempting, I think. Well, these are the most colourful and attractive flowers I've seen in Palanga or anywhere else for a wee while. And you might be able to hear and see that the buzzy bees feel exactly the same as I do. Who can blame them? Go on there. Get stuck in, Mr. Bee. Do your thing. Wonder what the honey tastes like. And just in case you're thinking to yourselves, This guy seems to film everything and then puts it in his videos and leaves nothing as a surprise for us to discover. Where's the fun in that? Well, I'm leaving these things for you to discover. I'm thinking that probably means pomidoro papriku. I'm thinking that's tomato and paprika soup for €2.50. There's shashlik for €12. Sigonishkas, gypsy something or other for 40. I don't know what that is. And lots of other things I don't understand. Mionetto and Prosecco, but no prices. How much use that menu is going to be to an English speaker or anyone who doesn't speak Lithuanian, well, I think we know, don't we? I was only trying to help. Now, what else have I left for you to see and do? There is, in fact, I've just learnt from looking at the big map on the board there, that there's a Jewish memorial further south if you want to go deeper into the park. There is also a sculpture, fairy tale sculpture, whatever that's about. It sounds interesting actually, doesn't it? But I'm not going to go back and look at that. It can always keep for another time. And I may well have seen it in the past myself, so I'll leave that for you to explore. There's also the greenhouse, which may or may not be open. And in that same vicinity, you'll find the Four Seasons sculpture, which I don't recall, but I'm sure I've been there before and would have photographed it for my own personal benefit. On this occasion, I'm thinking, no, don't do everything. You know, I went a bit mad in the Hill of Witches. Very useful toilet back there. Free, reasonably clean, a bit smelly, of course. Can't have everything, can you? And remember, bring your own toilet paper. But it was open, it was free, it was functional. Just remember to bring your own toilet paper. Luckily, I didn't need any. That's too much information, isn't it? And who's this character? Possible for me to know. So, this is what all the crowds are about. This is why they flock here. A promenade synonymous with the name Palanga. It's a you've got to do it type thing if you're a tourist, I suppose. Can be pleasant, I suppose. But to be honest, I've done the walk a couple of times in the past and it's really not at all interesting. I don't often say that, but I'm just giving you the heads up. There is nothing to see or do out there. You won't see any sculpture, you won't see any murals, you won't even get a great view of the beach. Nothing better than what you're seeing just by staying here. So I don't mean to be a Grinch, just trying to save you if you're on limited time, trying to see what there is to do here. You may have fitted in a trip to the Amber Museum, for example. You may have been fully engaged walking around the botanical garden as I was, and then time really does fly, doesn't it? So if you want to save a bit of time, don't bother with going out to the end of the pier, because there's no payback, there's no reward for you. If you're here to enjoy the beach, you won't be alone. This is the most popular part of Palanga Beach, and it's obviously far more busy in July and August. You've got a beach bar which isn't open as of Sunday afternoon. However, I'm sure it was probably doing good business last night. And over here you have, well, Houdini Bar is closed. Sun and Moon Beach Bar is well and truly open, and this may well have been one of the ideal places to come to enjoy your cocktails if you were partying last night, or any night of the week perhaps during peak season. Having decided I'm not going out there, no, I'll leave that for you to do. I'm trying to leave a few things for you to do. Several fast food options, and we're not forgetting the vegans among you. Espresso coffee here, €3, so that's a 50% markup on what we saw the other day in Klaipeda. Big wheel, anyone? You won't go hungry, you won't go thirsty, not in Palanga, so long as you can afford the prices. Maybe the big wheel's not your thing, but there's a bouncy castle over there. Bouncy castle, that'd be fun if I could just have it to myself. Mini golf. And I'm smelling all kinds of sweet things like waffles or pancakes, probably coming from Cafe Banook. Ice creams and all sorts in there, and drinks of all types too. The fizzy pop variety, I'm sure. Of course, I can hear Victoris at the Monk's Bunk Hostel in Kaunas, his words telling me it all used to be trees, it used to be a lovely place to walk down to the beach. And I suppose the City Council of Palanga decided they could basically just cut a swathe through the forest and create this boulevard for tourists and for lost car drivers. There's bumper cars. The cup is always half full, you see. Ciepeliniszki's. Basically a dough dumpling thing with sweet or savoury filling. Is this how you would like to spend your holiday? Or perhaps a part of your holiday? If it is, you know where to come. If you're a fish fan, you'll be absolutely delighted, I'm sure. Just look for that word, žuvis. From my point of view, this is the absolute least interesting part of Palanga. I feel obliged to cover this part as well. It's like anywhere you go, there'll be parts to the local culture which appeal and parts that don't. And for balance, so you don't missell the place, I don't want to upset people who might come to Palanga thinking, oh, it's all about beautiful wooded sand dune, botanical gardens and sculptures and history and amber museum and sculpture and wild creatures we might see while walking through that botanical garden. It is all that, but it's more. And the more is this. So it's sort of Lithuania'S Blackpool, I guess. If you like Blackpool, you'll like this part of Palanga. And that's why most people who come here do like Lithuania'S Blackpool. But if you're coming with a group of friends or with one specific significant other, then you might find the entertainments here to your liking. Or if you're a single guy and you got plenty of cash and want to get tanked up, maybe you'll have a fun time here as well. But you can kind of do that anyway if that's what interests you. And it's a reminder of how it used to be. We've got some big pictures up here. Should we see if we can take a look at them? For better or worse. It's all clothes and handbags. So you can give that bit a miss. And what's all that about? Are people strapped in? I'm not hearing them thump around inside like it's a tumble dryer. Oh. Still none the wiser. Okay, the time has come to see what's in these stalls. Various teas, if you're interested, and candies. And very homemade looking bread. Cake type things, halva. Ooh, mushrooms. Hopefully they know what they're picking. Usually several people get poisoned every year, don't they, in certain countries because they think that they've picked the right type of mushroom and actually it's the wrong type of mushroom. Some bickies and buns. But there's an absence of handicrafts, which is a shame, because I really thought that they would be pushing that, the local Karelian coastline handicrafts, traditional things, hemp products, breads, Georgian bread. Can't go wrong with Georgian bread, can you? Or Georgian wine, or Georgian food. It's all delicious. biscuits, cookies, various jellies and all sorts, honey. On the other side, more food items and plenty of honey, which hopefully is authentic if it suits you. Take your pick, take your choice, take a chance. Cheese, which maybe you wouldn't normally get in the supermarket. It's a different type of video for me. And frankly, I don't know what on earth I'm doing, because I've seen lots of people on YouTube film these markets and they just walk around, don't say anything, just film it. And they get millions of views, millions of likes. There we are, Lithuanian wine. Can't beat it, can you? But yes, walking around market, just pointing your camera in 4K, high definition, at various things on sale, very popular. Oh, low battery. Now, where was I before my battery ran out? That's right, I was describing the popularity of videos on YouTube when it comes to filming markets, and the products presumably are fascinating for some people, millions of them. They watch and they like. And to me, they're the most boring things imaginable, but maybe I shouldn't say that. But I really couldn't make a habit of doing too many videos like this, because it's not for me. There's some various beers on sale here, if you like beer. Wood platters and boards, anyone? That looks a bit nicer, doesn't it? A bit more interesting. But heavy, that's the trouble. I'm curious, when people steer bikes straight at me, do they think I'm invisible? Can I levitate? Maybe I look as though I can in this hat. It's a biggie. There we are. More pieces of jewellery in the stalls. And we've got a leather worker here. Not at work. I think I might have to call it a day shortly. Oh, these are the things which were in the gardens, weren't they, in Nida. Very similar style of artwork, and some of my favourite dragonflies there. Come on, admit it, this is much more interesting, isn't it? Okay, this is a never-ending road. So I'm going to bail at this point. And it's a good point to bail at. Might want to cool off your head in the fountain over here. Well, I don't know about you, but I think that last stretch of Palanga'S High Street kind of wore me out. Whew, it's aged me and wearied me. Here I am, propped up, a bit weary after all the walking I've been doing recently, as well as today. Perhaps it's the sight of that Blackpool style tourism in the main drag of Palanga which tires me out. Or maybe it's the fact I've been on the go and out every day without a break, and we're doing the filming and also having to try and sort out the transfer of the footage to a laptop, make a backup, start doing some video editing, etc., etc. It all means I'm pretty busy right the way through, and I'm waking up early. Yeah, I'm feeling a bit exhausted. Well, I hope you enjoyed our view of Palanga. I hope you enjoyed the walk around the botanical gardens, and maybe, even though it's not my cup of tea, some of you might have enjoyed the look around the heavily touristic side of Lithuania's summer capital, toward the beach and the promenade and the boardwalk pier, which I chose not to take, but maybe you should. Let me know how you get on. If you enjoyed the video, if you found any merit in it, kindly press the like button, and while you're there, it wouldn't do any harm to press the subscribe button, would it? Help an old soldier out? Can always do with more subscriptions. Until the next time,